those of us who are sort of committed to not ruining our kids' education and their lives and our lives, is what can we do instead that will tell us what kids know and can do. And there are many, many ways. And actually, you know, teachers know a lot about children. They know direct information about children, whereas test scores tell you indirect information, and you don't even get the test scores back in time to do much with that information anyway. So we have to figure out what would we want to know as parents, and what would we want to know as policymakers that would convince us that some people, that the people in the schools were doing a decent job. And I think parents know that many, many parents, one of the most interesting aspects of taking the pulse of the American parent is that what you very often find, and study after study seems to corroborate this, is that if you ask parents about their own children's school, most of the time they will tell you, you know, I'm pretty satisfied. I pretty much like the school my kid goes to. It's that school across the street. I don't know what they're doing over there. I'm not in there and I can't tell you, but the school my kid goes to, I think it's pretty good. Now, why would a parent say that? They'd say it because the child is coming home, they seem happy. When they go to parent-teacher conferences, the teacher knows the child. How do they know the child? Because they can tell you what the kid is doing for those 6.5 hours a day. They can show you the child's work. They can show you observations that they've made of the child. And as kids get older, there are plenty of teachers' tests that teachers use to tell themselves how kids are assessing the information, what their writing looks like. And if you ask most teachers at certain points of the year, what is it that this child needs to do? They will tell you. So what we need to do is develop a system that will give us that information. And the consortium has developed a system where we don't give the 5 Regents exams to graduate the kids from high school. They take one Regents exam, which is the ELA, and they can talk to you about that, well, why we do that later. But all the Regents, all of the subjects that are covered by the 5 Regents exams are covered by performance-based assessments. So kids have to write papers. They have to have those papers looked at by more than one teacher. They have outside people who come in and they have to make oral presentations about their work, like a PhD defense. They have to be able to do science and create science experiments around an issue a question that they're concerned about or interested in. They have to apply they have to demonstrate that they can apply mathematical understandings to concepts that they have worked with in their classes. And the work is not commercial. The papers that they do are not set by somebody outside. They grow out of their interest in the class. So you get students doing papers, 15, 20-page papers, that are really interesting, that engage the kids because they're the questions that the kids themselves have helped to formulate. You can have rubrics that judge the work that cut across all the schools from the South Bronx to mid-Manhattan. You can have we have outsiders who come in who assess the work in the schools, who look at them. And the English have been doing this for years with something called an inspectorate, where people come in and talk to the kids, talk to the teachers in an informal sort of way. And you learn as much, if not way more, about how these kids are performing. And I would just say there's a lot of evidence that we've looked at about what happens when these kids go on to college. We graduate double the number of L kids than the city does. We graduate double the number of special needs kids than the city does. Our kids have a much higher retention rate when they get to college. The teachers are in the schools, so they're collaborative communities. So that there's a whole range of things, indicators that you can start to look at that will tell you whether A, the school is a community that's functioning, and B, whether the children are really successful. You can do this in the lower grades. There are groups of teachers in the city that have produced a really wonderful guide for early childhood of what you can do with observations, children's work, and we could develop a system that would cut across all the grades. It doesn't have to be focused just on